What's up, my man?
The Olympics,
I know,
apparently,
I'm so
for
excited.
Chicago. Yeah, it'll be great.
And I hear you have history in Chicago.
I mean, I'm a Chicago guy, more or less. I grew up outside of Chicago and went to school at Columbia College downtown.
Great school.
Yeah,
What'd
so
you study?
and worked film. I worked in film production in Chicago.
Excellent. One of the better schools in film.
Yeah, and you know, learned my way around town. You know, then you're not really learning how to film or about film. You're learning about how to run errands. So,
Did I hear something about Johnny Brandmeier too? You used to work with him. Johnny
I was a writer for Jonathan Brandmeier when he had a TV show. Oh God, it was probably about like 1991 or 92, syndicated show. And well, we were called researchers because they couldn't pay us. They didn't want to pay the Writers Guild, so we were called researchers. But it was me and some friends.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then, how did you make the transition?
I started doing improv. I was working in film production, started doing improv. Theater, I was with the Annoyance Theater there too, which is still there and still vital and doing good shows. A friend of mine introduced me to Conan, and I got a job with him and ended up back in New York.
With all that history in Chicago, what's it feel like now to hear that the Olympics might actually be staged, this world celebration at the lakefront that you spent all that time at?
It's fantastic. And I mean, it's really, I think, one of the prettiest cities. I haven't been to every city in the world, but I've been to quite a few. And, you know, around the world, people think of, you know, when you say Chicago to people from Europe, they think Al Capone. It is the center of the country, and it reflects an agricultural life because it's, you know, in the middle of a farming world. There's manufacturing there too, and there's also like cosmopolitan arts that I think it's kind of like really a melting pot of the melting pot.
I may quote you on that.
All right.
And use it forever.
All right.
Can you imagine all these different cultures from around the world coming through, and from an artistic background, don't you think they'd be entertained in so many different ways? I mean,
many cultures from around the world are reflected in Chicago in the various neighborhoods.
More than most places.
Yeah, absolutely more than most places.
And what do you think Chicagoans would take away from all the different cultures visiting?
I remember, I think it was John Belushi, another Chicagoan, said, you know, everybody in New York or LA seems to be trying to get to the other coast.
Right.
But in Chicago, people seem to be, you know, happy to be where they are. And I think that's, you know, I think that's true, and I think that's great, but I think it also sometimes lends itself to not being really open to the rest of the world, and I think it'd be great to have all these different influences.
Yeah.
It can only enrich.